hold up. If you wanna go and take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time.
More variety than you can imagine. Relax Radio.
Welcome back to the show. This is Relax Radio with me, Nick, and guess who we have on board again today? We got my girl Laura right here, and we're gonna be keeping you guys company all the way until 5 p.m. So make sure you guys keep it locked right here. And if you want to be part of the show, well, it is pretty simple. All you got to do is hit us up on those numbers 07852 473 473. So Laura, how's your day been going so far?
Not bad, not bad. I did a little bit of workout in the morning, didn't exactly do as many as I hoped, but tomorrow's another day. How's your day
another
been?
day, another dollar.
Yeah.
Oh, so there was a lot of these talks going on right now in across the UK, with the recent green listing of the issues, and there has been also, with that regards, there's also been talks about this new medicine that they're going to be researching on.
Yeah. I read about that, and I don't know what to say about the new medicine. I think it's called ivermectin.
It is.
I don't know about that because from what I read, it's been used across Latin America and South Africa, but even then, it's not been proven, like the effect of the medicine, and the scientists are saying that they've used it for like some sicknesses like blindness and some other stuff, but I don't know if, everyone is asking now, is there a cure for COVID?
I mean, there is a
no.
I mean, it's difficult to say. I mean, coming from a science background, I'd like to say finding a cure for a virus is not really something that is feasible as of yet, right now anyways.
Yeah.
Because we have to understand the virus is it's very minuscule, it's very tiny, it's so tiny, it's small. I mean, look at this. I'll give you the best analogy that I can give. A bacteria is the sun, and the virus is literally a sand. That's how small the virus is.
I sucked at biology, Nick. So you're definitely going to lose me there. But I mean, I get what you're saying. I think they need to, be very sure about all this because you don't want to start testing it on people and start having, side effects. That is going to lead to something completely different. The last thing the government needs is for a family to sue the government because you gave me a medicine and it didn't work for me. And this is what I've had to deal with,
I mean,
a lot can go wrong.
Though. That's true. But also, it's interesting looking at how the UK is handling it. And, I like how Boris Johnson is all of a sudden putting all of the fundings that we have into research, into science. And we could have done this. I mean, you got to understand, we could have done this in the beginning as well. Why didn't we do it? I mean,
I think at the beginning, just like every other outbreak, it was overwhelming. A lot was happening. Everyone was panicking. So I think the government was just trying to figure out a way to calm everyone down first.
Yeah.
It's like get everyone controlled. Don't freak out. It's not the zombie apocalypse. Just relax, and then we'll start looking for treatments later. If you ask me, did they start it early enough? I don't know, but I guess better late than never.
I mean, I get the whole point. Yeah, you're right. It's better late than never. But these are things, we could have avoided if they put more, if they invested more money, hopefully in, science field. And right now they realize their mistake. And for me, I personally don't agree with politicians putting their fingers into science because, there's always some sort of agenda behind all of that. I don't know what you think. There's always some sort of agenda.
I mean, unless that politician has a previous scientific background, I would probably just leave it to the science professionals, to handle the whole thing. But I'm guessing, obviously, one politician can't just make all the decisions. They have to sit down as a group and as a team and deliberate and decide what do we do, how do we do all this. So I'm guessing before they come out and say ivermectin is the cure for COVID, they need
you got
to
the
be
name right.
100. It took some practice, Nick. But, for them to come out and say ivermectin is the cure, they need to be 150%
Yeah, they
correct and
have to.
accurate. Yeah.
That is true. Yeah. I mean, they have to guarantee for a fact,
Hmm.
like this is going to be effective. And it's just not something that we're pulling out of thin air. I mean, this is not
Yes.
something that they're pulling out of thin air and they're like, okay, this is the new cure. We found the cure. I mean, let's be real here and let's be honest. We don't have a cure as of yet. We barely
Hmm.
have a vaccine and we're not
Yeah.
even sure how that's going to work in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, this if this thing comes out to be true, they would want to test it. It's one thing for you to test a cure on like guinea pigs or lab rats,
Yeah,
but you're gonna have to test this on humans and human beings, and we're all different. So the way I react to a cure is definitely not going to. It might not be the same way you react to, you know, a cure, much less a vaccine.
that is true.
So they
Yeah.
need to be 100%, sure about the whole thing.
I mean, that's interesting that you pointed that out. I mean, it takes me back to cigarettes. I don't know if you know this story. So before, back in the 50s, in the 60s, doctors would actually, support you getting a cigarette and having a cigarette, taking a fag or something, whatever you want to call it, and,
Yeah.
smoking up. And then they would say, if you're having a headache, well, take cigarettes. If you're having stomach ache, take a cigarette. If
Really?
you're looking at me like I'm a crazy person, but this is true. I mean, this was research. This was done, old research that I've done, and
Yeah.
and it sees that back then doctors didn't know exactly what cigarettes would do. They said, okay, it made people less stressed and all that. That's what they thought initially. It
Yeah.
is after 40 years. I think it was around the early 1800s. That's where they found out. So
Yeah.
1890s,
Hmm.
and they found out that okay, they took
It's
they
actually
took a person
harmful.
out. It is harmful. They found out there's this black thing coming out, and then they didn't want to admit it, but because there was a lot of investment going on, you see the whole point here.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
because we have to understand the number one taxpayers are these cigarette companies, are these alcohol companies. So it's
True.
difficult to get rid of them as well, if we really think about
Yeah.
it. So with this medicine as well, like the vaccines that we are finding and all of that, we can think, okay, right now it might seem like a short-term solution, but in the
Hmm.
long run,
In the
like
long
you
run,
said,
yeah.
we don't know exactly what the side effects are going to be. And
That's it.
back then, I like to think the sample sizes, when it comes to sample sizes, it's not everyone, like every person, it's not like every how do we say this, we don't have the internet back then, so
Right.
information
Yeah.
doesn't travel as fast as it
Yeah.
does right now.
Of course.
So scientists do find ways to justify it and all of that, but end of the day, what we'll find out is in the next 20 years. That's what my bet.
Hmm.
Next 20 years, we'll figure out what exactly the side effects of what we're taking right now.
Yeah, definitely. Back in the day, in the 50s, just like you said, technology wasn't that advanced. Personally, I'm really happy that I was born in the 90s, where technology really started to evolve and everything. But cigarettes isn't exactly like the vaccine or the cure that they're making us believe. And personally, I would say that before the government comes out to say ivermectin might possibly be the cure, I think they must really be sure, because you don't want
Yeah.
to give people hopes. You don't want to give a lot of people expectations, and then you come out tomorrow and say, actually, if you take ivermectin, you might run mad, or you might start to pee on yourself or something. So you
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need to really be sure, because
I
if you
sense a
tell
little
me,
bit of hostility. I'm sorry for jumping in there, but I sense a little bit of hostility that you're a little mad that the restrictions have been delayed. Lifting of the restrictions. I feel like there's a little hint right there.
I'm just honestly, I just can't wait for this whole thing to be over.
Yeah,
I don't mind waiting till next month. I can't stand to wait till next year. Just,
that's true.
but yeah, next month is fine for me. Just let everything go back to, at least let us have very low rate of infections and
Yeah,
not COVID numbers and all of that.
yeah.
Let's just be good. That's just
Yes.
it.
I mean, let's just behave is more appropriate. I mean, I
Yeah,
get it. Like right now, the government also shouldn't come up forward and tell, okay, 100%, this is what's going to happen. This is a cure. We found the cure. You
exactly.
shouldn't hype people up like that just to disappoint them. It's like a
That's it.
relationship.
Exactly. Yeah, like just I feel like they should keep it amongst themselves and really get to like it's just like you're trying to download data, right? When it
Yeah,
gets to about 98%, then
yeah,
you're very sure that okay, this is going to happen, this is going to work. Not when you're about like 5%, 10%, and then you're coming out to say, oh yeah, I'm going to get this thing. No, because a lot of people are banking on this. A lot of people
that
are
is
saying,
true.
is there a cure? What are they doing?
Yeah,
So let it get to a point where they can beat their chest and say, yes, this is the cure. This is the cure. And then you come out to tell people, we've waited for over a year. We can
yeah,
wait for a few more months.
yeah. I mean,
That's what
what's
I
the
believe,
harm? Yeah, that.
Well,
I mean, what's the? I
what's the
mean,
rush?
yes. I mean, I understand. Like, yeah, people have their own personal thing going on, and I understand that most people are not happy about this whole delay. And we're looking at ways to find a cure for the vaccine. It does raise people's morale a lot, but
Yeah.
then in the end of the day, will people be satisfied with the answers that we give afterwards when we say, "Oh, okay, sorry, we made a bad. It's our mistake. This doesn't really have that much of a benefit to us. It's not really a cure." It's more,
Hmm.
it will reduce the spread, but that not really cure it. And people will
Yeah.
get disappointed. That's whole. I personally, yeah, I totally understand what you're trying to get at, and
Hmm.
it does get frustrating at times. It does get frustrating.
Yeah, but I mean, another thing we need to understand is if because the University of Oxford, came out to say that this might be a cure. So if they're coming out to say it, another question we want to ask is, I mean, what if they're actually right? What if they have deliberated on this whole thing and they're sure it's not just one person, it's not just one scientist,
Yeah,
coming out to say it. It's the whole body now, it's the whole university, which makes up obviously, number of scientists, of professionals and stuff coming out to say this. So I also want to believe that they are sure of what they're saying and it's not going to bounce back on us in the future. Maybe when they
hopefully, yeah,
start testing people and then no
yeah,
one comes out with any side effects or
yeah.
nothing like that. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. These are all hypotheticals. I mean, we can't really dwell
Yeah,
on the hypotheticals. The
exactly.
government likes to hype us up and tell us one thing at a time. Okay, this you're gonna do this. You're gonna have this. We're gonna do this. I mean, I
Yeah.
can go on and on for hours about the
Hmm.
promises that they've made and then they've not really kept. So these are just it just gets, yeah, it does get frustrating. And for some reason, I'm sorry, it just in my mind right now, what were those crutches about in the background?
Oh no, I actually sprained my ankle really bad last week. My left ankle, so it swelled up pretty bad.
Oh,
So yeah, yeah. So I went to the A&E and I was given crutches. First time in my life, but I guess there's a first time for everything. But like I was supposed to be given 3 weeks to use them, but 1 week is enough. I've had it. I just had to pack it over. I feel much better now.
that's great. That's great to hear. I was
That's
just a little
another thing I,
concerned
I love about the NHS. They're there to
whenever
to
you need
help.
them.
Yeah, yeah. So let's just hope that they stay here for a very, very long time.
I mean, the government, there has been talks, though. There has been talks that I saw that the government was planning to reduce the funding. Right now, they've boosted the funding in the NHS, but then, yeah, there has been consideration if everything gets back to normal, will we bring the funding down again? And there has been a lot of criticism against that.
Mm. If I was in the NHS and after all I've invested all my time and my energy and my dedication into this work, into making NHS better, and then the
Yeah,
government comes to say they're going to reduce funding after everything, this hurdle that we've gone through. I'm not going to
I,
blame people if they want to leave. If I'm being very honest, it's like you need to appreciate people. You need to thank them for the hard work they've done, and it's not just by giving them money. You need to constantly support them, because these
right.
are people that they do a lot of overtime. They do a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
out of hours work.
That is true.
So
I mean, yeah, that in that consideration, that's what the NHS does. But anyways, we are going to be taking a real quick break. So don't go anywhere. And if you want to be part of the show, all you got to do is pretty simple. Hit us up on those numbers, 07852 473 473. And with that, checking your time right now, it is 4:21. Good evening.
One of the easiest ways to increase your net worth is to ensure that you have higher cash flows. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not buy things on hire purchase, not buy things over months and months because you can't afford them now, but you want it. It's kind of that delayed gratification. Rather than buy that couch, that car, that stereo, that computer, whatever item, and pay it off over 12, 24, 36 months at an interest rate, rather invest that money, make do with what you've got, and then after 12, 24, 36 months, take the money that you've now invested and buy that good. An asset could be anything that appreciates or reduces a tax bill. So it could still be a liability, but it reduces their tax bill. And I'm not going to go into the technicalities because that's out of our remit here. However, for our use or our purpose, what we are talking for the listeners here is I would put this definition of an asset forward. An asset is anything that increases your income. Anything.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? When you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if that, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
Radio at its best. Relax Radio.
That's right. This is Relax Radio with me, Nick, and we got Lara on board as well, keeping you guys company all the way until 5 p.m. That's right. We're going to be talking about all things that is going on in the UK. And we were talking about how the medicine and all of that issue going on and how the government should be less hyping people up. Is that the word?
Yeah, I guess, how they should be sure and not give us false hopes, in quote, because we're expecting a lot. And
it sounds like a bad relationship. I feel like it's a bad relationship. You have that ex and he's always trying to mess with you and tell you promises, I'll change, we'll do this, don't worry. But then they go back to their old ways.
Well, that's why it's an ex, but the UK government, you can't exactly just disown and just stop talking to them and, cut all ties. You can do that with an ex, but...
it's interesting to see, the situation, the way it's going. And because I understand the pressure that the government is getting right now from a lot of businesses, for one, with the wedding industries, they are facing a lot of problems. And then we have tourism. Oh my God, don't even get me started on hospitality. A lot of these hotels and businesses are actually pushing the government. And we can understand that the government is it's pulling on anything that it can right now. And if it's going to be a cure, and if we can give people some kind of hope, well, we'll do it. But it's not exactly fair, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think just like you said, a lot of businesses are suffering. And if businesses are suffering, it means people are suffering. And if people are suffering, it means that the rate of poverty might actually go up, it might increase, and that is not what the government wants. So more than ever, I know that they're under a lot of pressure. I know that there's a lot of people breathing down their necks, but at this point, they need to really, really speed things up as much as they're trying to be careful as possible, because you don't want to rush things and then make a mistake, because no one is going to understand that you were in a hurry. No one's going to understand that you were under a lot of pressure. They're going to they're going to think you're the leaders. We're following you. Whatever you say is what we do.
That
so
is
you
correct.
need to give us accuracy, and you need to give us credibility.
Yeah, because I feel like anyway, the public is going to criticize the government, whatever they
That's
do,
it.
whether they do something right or wrong. If they do something right, oh, we're trying to get this for some clout or something. When we do something wrong, well, it's even worse.
Well, I think it's just like when the government does something right, it's like obviously that's your job. You're just doing your job, you know.
True.
And then when they do something wrong, it's like you only have one job. You only have one thing to do. You know, why can't you just do it right? So it's a lot of pressure, especially with the prime minister. I can't imagine what he's going to right now. You know, but
He's losing his hair. That's what happening. His hair is thinning like crazy, and he looks older than before. I mean,
yeah,
when
he does.
he
does actually.
it's crazy. I mean, recently when he got married, I saw his wedding photos, and I was like, "Hey, is that Boris Johnson?" Like, he changed a lot. From 2019 to now, I can see the toll of this whole pandemic happening. And I'm not talking about him getting sick, but rather him actually, with the stress.
Yeah,
I don't want to be
aging.
that guy.
Yeah, it kind of just takes me just away from the government, the UK government, America, the time of Obama. I know he really aged so much from when he
did.
went into office till the time he left. It was like he'd aged like 10 years in the space of how many terms? 2 terms. So it's a lot can happen.
A lot can change, yeah.
Yeah, a
In the
lot
government,
can
like, I mean, since we're at that point, Donald Trump didn't look like he aged at all, though. I think he was out there creating trouble. That's why.
That's because he was putting out more than he was actually taking in. So
I mean, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But anyways, we're going to be taking a real quick break right now, and we'll definitely be right back after this short break. Taking a look at your time right now, it is 4:30. Good evening.